Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Sunday morning. I'm Yalik, and we don't want that. And I've already made this video twice because A, I'm a derp, and B, my dog, for some reason, is periodically just looking up at me and whimpering, and I don't know why. He's not sick. He's not hurting. He's just had food. He doesn't need to go out. I couldn't tell you. Anyway, whatever. We're just going to have to deal with it. So, shut up, Peanut. We'll see how much what we can do here, and hopefully it won't be too intrusive. And if you do end up hearing it, I apologize in advance. Anyway, so what I'm trying to show you is I have a couple of HRCZM hits that I've done this morning. Bit of a rough morning. This guy here, he is going to have to wait till I boost this afternoon. Nasty layout. 5-2 base, very spread out, blaster, damage. He's got a bunch of damage statues. So that's probably going to be a masterpiece boost because, as you remember, right now we have the all defensive building damage tribe. So he's got a bunch of damage amplified by the tribal multiplier. So yeah, that base is for real. Anyway, so I attacked him 4 times and decided that I would stop throwing my gold at the problem because, as you can see from the state of my gold, things are not great. However, otherwise, a decent morning. Did fail once on this guy. Eraser came back and got him. I'll show you that in a second. But first, this fellow, Chinese squigglies. And so with this base, the idea was I was going to use smoky HRCZM and get myself back to the blind spot of this rocket launcher. Now, I have the GBE. He's got a bunch of health, as you can see down here, 4 with 1 boosting. So I had the GBE to remove 2 of the range towers doing this. So we're going to go with the 2 furthest away from me on the far side of the HQ. So this rocket launcher and that shock launcher. And we're dealing with this one by standing in its blind spot. These 2 can be shocked together. That's the plan. And then, well, you'll see later that these 2 shields, he really should have them spread out a little bit more. Should have shown that. You'll see on the next hit, you'll see the drop that I used here, but these are all of my other boats of everything else. And then this boat over here to the left was the heavies. Did a side drop, dropped everything else and dropped the heavies pretty much right on the flare. That way they turn to the flare quickly and start walking, and then that way they get out ahead of all the other troops, and that way they will take a few of the mines that are on our path, and also they will give the medics something to do. Actually, on the next hit, I want you to pay close attention to the medics. The heavies get out and they step on some of the mines, and we have this medic speed boost tribe, and the medics fly up to the heavies to start healing them. So the heavies take a little bit of damage this way, and that keeps the medics along with, and so that's a pretty useful little trick to employ. Also, this guy's helped us out by throwing a shock mine on our path, and that will slow the initial heavies down, which is great because with this formation it's pretty regular to see your troops will stretch, and on a flare like this, which is a longer flare, your troops can stretch from that flare almost back to the beach sometimes. So having a shock mine on the way is really not a problem for me. It's more of a benefit. Slow down those front troops a little bit. Now the one problem here, I throw the last 2 smokes together, which is usually a good practice, and with this troop combination you do need that much standing room. However, this smoke, which actually would have been the last that I threw, because I threw this one first and then this one. This one I got a little sloppy, and I should have covered the corner of this cannon, because you're going to start to see troops peeking there. And my Zookas haven't gotten there yet, but they're going to get fried by this flamethrower. So I had to go ahead and shock it a bit early, so as to keep my Zookas around. But I was going to have to shock it anyway, so that wasn't too big a deal. Threw critters out, didn't have the GB for anything else, so threw critters out in front of my troops to distract these towers for a bit while I was clearing up the flamethrowers in that area of the world. And then as I gather up more GBE, I'm shocking down here. Now, you'll start to see why this base layout is a bad idea. Right now, just threw some more critters for some more distraction, but Actually, those critters probably should have been more to the HQ, but whatever. Anyway, so this is about to go down. My troops are, a whole bunch of my troops are facing it. Look at all those riflemen staring at it. So the shock launcher is about to drop. This back here is really my only problem, this machine gun, and I don't have any other way to deal with it, so I'm going to use a med kit here in a second. But once my troops step in and approach that, the shield gen down here is dropping. There's nothing to protect this shield gen up here, and we've removed all of the splash damage in the area. So yeah, I don't have the troops left, as you can see, to approach the headquarters directly and just shoot my way through it. But he really should have had his shield generators spread out over both sides of the base. That would have made this hit a bit more competitive at the end, I want to say. I don't end up having a whole bunch of troops left. As you will see here in a minute, I just gathered up a bit more GBE, and we do have some critters working over here, so we'll get some more later. So we'll have enough for one more critter swarm. The boom cannons I'm not so much worried about, because the critters will... There we go with the critter swarm. The critters will protect us from the boom cannons, but the grappler is, well, it's going straight for my troops, so it's removing them one by one by one because it can't see the critters. They're in its blind spot because it has a pretty large blind spot. So I don't have a ton of troops here. You can see the HQ. Did I just say HQ? I hate that. HQ is about to drop, and not a ton of troops remaining. Some rifles and some Zookas. It's, you know, it's fine for this, but if I had to go straight through half the shield, if he had a shield generator placed over here and inaccessible to me, I wouldn't have had the troops for that. So really a mistake on his part. So that was Chinese squiggles, and now on to Eraser, which is try that again, HRCZM, but not the smoky kind. In this case, decided it's a similar approach. Gonna go to the left, gonna take out the two furthest range towers, and then I was staring at this. I had tried before smoking up to the left. That didn't work out. That was the fail that I showed before, and so this time I decided to try something a little bit different, and I decided to remove this rocket launcher as well, which is a bit of a gamble because I'm not boosted, and so that left me with about 30 GBE for the hit. Normally you would like to have a little bit more in hand. Oh, why don't we press play? I thought that was... Normally you'd like to have a little bit more in hand when you start an attack, but it worked out. So I figured with the heavies I would have the machine guns and the mortar up here covered. I can shock back there, value shock on the two range towers. Now check this out. So first of all, drop, like I said, the heavies go to the flare very quickly, and then they get out front. Now you're going to see them walk into a couple of mine. They will take some damage. Now watch the medics. Those medics are moving, trying to catch up to the heavies. So that's why it is good to get with that drop to let the heavies get out front a little bit, and, you know, take a mine or two. Not such a big deal, actually kind of a benefit. It's even more impressive in 2x mode, but, well, you don't actually do the hit in 2x mode now, do you? So, speaking of 2x mode, at this point, I'm just trying to keep shocks going back here as much as possible. You can see the heavies are where we would want them, out front. Got a bunch of critters going, so that's always a good thing. And I'm sort of looking ahead now in this area with the microwaver, flamethrowers, machine gun. That's my primary concern, so I saved up the GBE for a shock on that. And then we're going to flare to the back. And in this case, don't even bother with removing the shield. That's a lot of troops left, and they're working through the shield in this case. Unlike the other one where I decided to go get it manually, in this case, just ignored it completely because, yeah, we've got the firepower left to do that. Always with the celebratory GBE at the end because, well, if you can, you should. Anyway, that's what I've got. My gold situation is dire. So I'm going to go do some Dr. T and try to remedy that. I'm coming for you. I'll get you later. Anyway, hope you have a good day, like the video, all that stuff, and I'll catch you again when something of interest happens. Take care.